Hey, Shalom Alkins Rakam Kapash from Jim Islam, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chachwadash. I want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the whole for that Christian's truth and all sincerity. Back again with just a quick video. Got this article here from The Guardian. And, you know, the language at Britain and, the US as well, with this whole inflation problem that they're having, right? It goes to show you, man, that really this is organized and orchestrated an orchestrated crisis, man. And they pretend that their hands are tied and that they got no other options, no other choices, that they're forced to do these things. But everything leading up to this moment, has been part of a crafted plan, right? That the whole Pan D and the state, that it's left the world in, right? And everything else that's surrounding that. Okay, that's led to these inflations and whatever, because hey, once we're out the pandemic, we want to be back to normal, right? And shit ain't been back to normal. Ain't been back to normal since, right? And things are only getting worse. And like I said, now that they're acting like, their hands are tied behind their backs, they can't do nothing about this. The only thing they can do, well, the way they're kind of speaking is it's the lesser of two evils, right? But someone's got to pay for it, and it's gonna be you. It's gonna be the public. Okay? It ain't gonna be these rich boys. Okay, they ain't gonna suffer. They never suffer. Them man are always making money, no matter fucking come rain or shine, right? They're always making money, so they don't suffer when these things go, when they make these proposals, right? So here from the Guardian it says Bank of England must create recession. They have to. Like, what kind of backwards shit is that, right? They must create. Not a nation never wants to go into a recession, right? But because of the inflation, they have to. It's the only way to combat inflation. But who does a recession really affect? Mostly small business owners, right? And the common man, the common working man, right? Let's Right, I'll just put in the Google what happens during a recession, and just a quick one, right? So during a recession, the economy struggles. Okay, businesses don't do so well, right? These major corporations, man, yeah, they're gonna lose their, some of their profits, whatever, but they'll do exactly what they're currently doing now, but on a larger scale, is cut people off. Facebook been cutting people off, Amazon been cutting people off, right? To keep their company afloat, to keep their profits, right? That's what they do. So people lose their jobs. The working people lose their jobs. The Bezos, well, I say Bezos, I'm not even 100% sure that he's running the thing, but then the guys like the Bezos, is the people that the CEOs of these companies, they're great. They're better than great. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna hit their targets this year, and they're still gonna get their pays, right? But you're gonna struggle. You ain't gonna have no income coming in. Okay, which means you ain't gonna be purchasing food and all that kind of stuff. So even though the prices are, gone up, right? You can still go to the shop. You can afford, because you got money. Like there is money, right? You got money for those that are still working, right? It's just making your money very thin. But why was you ain't got no money? Well, it don't matter how much the fucking price is, because you can't buy it anyway. All right. It says people lose work, companies make fewer sales, and the country's overall economic output declines. The point where the economy. Oh, yeah, I have to read that part. Right. So basically, people suffer, not the rich, just the common man, right? But guys like, I believe this is Jeremy Hunt saying this, man, which he was what office does he hold? Chancellor. He's the Chancellor of the Exchequer now or something like that. Or anyway, but he he's suggesting that the bank needs to create a recession. And so they're saying in the open that they want to create a problem. I mean, the inflation is a problem, but like I said, Esau is orchestrated. He's brought these events to bring it to this point to convince you that we must have a recession. You must stop getting your pay increases, even though you're struggling. right? Because it's feeding the inflation, right? It's circular reason, isn't it? So like, if they make you believe that, if they get you to believe that, like, there's no, like, you're down if you do, down if you don't, right? Rock and a hard place, catch 22, because that's what that's how they, making it seem like, right? But the only people that ever pay are the poor, all right? But anyway, this is so yeah, Bank of England must create recession to fight high inflation. Hunt advisor says as mortgage rates rise again as it happened, right? So yeah, the interest rates are going up because the bank just put up the base rate. Okay. Let's have a quick look at this. All right, this is what men are saying. All right, so the difficulty for the Bank of England, I mean, no one envies them. Their job at the moment is that they have to therefore create a recession. They have to create uncertainty and frailty because it's only when companies feel nervous about the future that they will think, well, maybe I won't put through that pay rise. Like what? Man, I want the pay rise, man, when things are looking uncertain because they need more money, right? This is or workers when they are a little bit less confident about their job think, oh, I won't push my boss for that higher pay. Why the fuck would you not? Who thinks like that? When things look uncertain, I won't ask my boss for the pay rise. What? Because you don't think he got it? These motherfucking Amazons and that, they got money, man. Right? Things look uncertain for you, not for the company generally. Not these big ass companies. It's not uncertain for them. It just means that they just know they're gonna make less money. Right? And that's why they're happy to sack people and fire people. That's what man I'm thinking about during that time. You know? So in that weakness in activity, which eventually gets rid of inflation, right? But this was an issue before. All right, so basically, yeah, people need to lose their jobs. People need to stay poor to bring the inflation down. Right. So basically, it's like, what they're saying is that you're never to have a pay rise because it just affects inflation. Basically, so even if the inflation went down, the way it's supposed to be more confident, I guess now, right? If you was to ask for the pay rise then, which is supposed to be the time you ask for it when you're more confident, as I try to put it out to you, that means they shouldn't ask for that either because it can cause inflation. But we know it's not the people that are causing inflation. Okay, it's the banks, right? It's these rich ass people with all their fucking increases, if anything, right? But someone makes a good point in this article about all the money printing, because that's really what's doing it. All this quote unquote free money that they've been pushing out there is been part of the orchestrated crisis. Oh, it was there to help everybody, right? During the pandemic. No, it was to create the situation that we're living in now. Right? To basically eventually have everybody dependent on the system. All right. But anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. Let's quickly, because this is a long article. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but I know there was bits and pieces in it scattered around. So this is what they were saying before. So they hoped for too long that inflation would go away on its own accord, because that's what he was being told at the beginning when things were going up. Oh yeah, it'll flatten out, right? And underestimate the second round effects now evident in accelerating growth. Oh, we wasn't expecting people to want more wages because of the inflation. No, we wasn't expecting no one to ask for more money when men are losing money like crazy. No, we didn't expect that to happen. It was underestimated that. Bro, these people have been underpaid for time. These people are being underpaid. It has nothing to do with them. They've been underpaid. They don't get most of these companies or these people don't get paid with the rate of inflation, man. They're losing money every fucking year. So how is it their fault? Like I said, if you're talking about wages and that's that being a reason or because causing the inflation, then it can only be done by the 1%. These top guys that are just getting paid mega money, man. You know, because it's not being distributed fairly, amongst their employees, and that they're making hella cake. So if it's to do with wages, then it really it's to do with the top percentages, because these men don't stop making money and profit, right? This is So it did not adhere to the stitch in time. Sorry, it did not adhere to the stitch in time says nine principle, and now we'll have to raise rates by more and cause a deeper downturn to bring inflation back to target. All right, so that was that article, but here it's got separate articles or related articles, right? Yeah, I think there's one here by Jim Reed. So UK mortgage holders face 20% hit to disposable income from rate hikes. 20% is a lot, bro. You already getting taxed 20 or more, right? Some of us are getting taxed 40, 45. I think, is there a higher bracket? Anyway, like under over 50, maybe even less than that. Over 50,000, I think it is, right? Man, they're getting taxed 40 or 45%. And back in the day, I remember when I was young, man. If you heard someone was on 50 grand, man, it sounded rich. 50 grand don't stretch as far these days. 50 grand is not rich at all, right? But you're getting taxed at 40% or 45% or whatever it is. I think they have a higher tax bracket over 100,000 or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But even if you're earning 100,000 today, it really ain't all it's cracked up to be, man. It ain't what it used to be, right? But you're being kind of oppressed by taxes, man. You can't actually become well off unless you're doing these fucking deals or investment type dudes, getting in that big money and trying to find a way to get around the tax shit. All right, but anyway, um, let's see. 10% drop in sales. Where is this Jimmy one? Oh, here's an interesting one. UK government debt rises above 100% of GDP for the first time since 1961, right? So they're more in debt than they are making anything. Now, America already bust that trend a long time ago, right? They're trillions and trillions in debt beyond their GDP, which means they can never pay it back. They don't make enough money, but they still, I'm pretty sure their credit ratings has dropped over the years, but I'm pretty sure it's probably still better than most countries. But this country could never possibly pay any of that money back, really. you know. Oh yeah, Rishi, and this is part of the problem. Well, Rishi Sunak, who's the Prime Minister of the UK, right? He made a pledge. He made a promise to the people that he'll bring down inflation or half inflation, right? We're nowhere close to that right now, and so these men are going to be stubborn, right? And ask them, get the bank or work with the banks to increase these interest rates more and more until it is halved, man. So they're gonna fuck you, everybody, because they made a promise, right? So they can't go back on their promise. So they're gonna make sure it happens. one of the very few things that these men do when it comes to effing you over, they on that. They're gonna make sure they're gonna do that, right? So I think it's 8 point something right now, right? And they need to get down to 5 to half it or some shit, right? Ideally, want to get down to 2. That's what it's supposed to be. Um, let's have a look. So they're gonna go, rally behind that. Or we promised the people with half inflation, and if we don't do that now, so they're gonna be stubborn about it and just make sure gets down as low as possible while screwing everybody over. And say, but we made a promise though, so we had to do that. Come on, where is this Jim Reed article? Right, so let me read some of this, right? What is inflation? Inflation is a term used for the rate at which prices increase over time. If the price of something rises from £10 to £11 over a year, then that will represent annual inflation of 10%. Every month, the ONS report the annual increases on a raft of items and services, including everything from computer games to a loaf of bread. Why is it currently so high? In May, inflation struck 8.7% as it continues to slow from the 11.1% peak it hit last year. Right, prices rocketed last year after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, so they're hiding behind that, or using that as an excuse, which again is another orchestrated event. All right, in late February 2022, caused the price of energy to shoot up higher, adding pressure from supply disruption. It contributed to higher costs for firms making products or offering services, while labor costs also started to rise. All right. And, like I said, these guys at the top, rather than take the hit themselves, right, they start sacking people, or they start doing all this kind of stuff, right? Because they could have just cut their own wages and saved the inflation issue from the wages, right? But no, they want to pay the labor more, but we're forced to. So since then, higher food and drink prices are a key reason why inflation has failed to fall as fast as hoped. People are buying too much. Olive oil, eggs, and cheese are among items to see the sharpest increase over the past year. So the Bank of England has tried to as a target to try to get the rate of inflation around 2%. That's what it's supposed to be at, or what they ideally have it at, right? In order to drag inflation down quickly, the most commonly used policy tool used by a central bank is increasing the base interest rate. Increases to interest rates, which currently sit at a 14-year high of 4.5%, are designed to reduce demand from people to borrow money because of the higher charges they will face, and encourage people to save their cash. It's hoped that lower spending and increased saving will encourage firms to reduce prices to keep customers purchasing products or services, helping to reduce the rate of inflation. All right, I'm going to worry about the mortgages. Okay, Jim Reed's down here. Okay, let me read this last bit here. So the government pledged to halve inflation annually from a rate of 10.7% at the start of the year as part of 5 promises by Rishi Sunak's government. At the time, economists had forecast inflation was on track to drop to around 2.9% by the last quarter of 2023, but have reduced this to 5.1%, raising concerns the pledge could be at risk. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt said in response that the target was still absolutely deliverable, but stressed that there is still a long way to go to achieve this. Right, so they've got more plans in the work for you, man. Right, but here's the Jim Reed article, right? And he says here, so in a new research note today, Reed argues that the main cause is fiat money. Okay, this printed paper money that we all got, or that they create, right? It says cash directly printed and issued by governments that isn't pegged to an underlying commodity. And this is why it gets devalued, because there's nothing, it hasn't, the more you print something, the less, the more of it's out there, it's worth less, right? It's not attached to anything. It's not a finite amount of it, right? Like when it used to be pegged to gold and silver. And that's why your dollars and your pounds ain't really worth shit, right? This is, let's see. On me. So since the world effectively moved to fiat money in 1971, there is no country in the world that has averaged inflation below 2%. It's too easy to create money and run deficits. America is the chief of that, right? They just have to raise the debt ceiling again, right? And the temptation to do that rather than take harder decisions will always be there when the inevitable and fairly regular economic and financial shocks hit. The UK and the US are a bit more likely to have this bias than the EU due to their respective central bank mandates and stricter deficit rules, but the latter is not immune. So even if inflation eventually means reverts to the central bank targets this cycle, the probabilities are high that it will average above it for the rest of your careers, unless you think we have a great reset at some point. Right? Does he know something? Does he know? Is he in the know? Because there will be, right? And that's what these puppets of these elites, they all know that. These people in the government, they know that, man. They're creating this situation for that to happen. They're gonna collapse this shit, man. They're gonna collapse this system and bring in a new one. All right. It says where markets refuse to buy any more government bonds, even at that point, central banks may simply take up even more slack. All right. So it's lucky that took a little while to get through, but yeah, it's all planned and orchestrated, man, and they're kind of letting you know. Like let's say when it goes down, it's like, oh, we had to do that though. So they're letting you know that they're gonna create it or have to create it because it's the only way. Not knowing that you've been led there, sleepwalking into that problem. Okay, it's been plotted and planned from times ago, years in the making, and now you're here, and the governments, they're gonna want to look sort of guiltless, like it wasn't their fault. They had no options. We didn't want this to happen. When all the time, this is what they was always working towards. All right. So this is Psalm 64, verse 2. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Okay, these elites. Right? These secret societies, right? From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Right? So they exist. It's not a conspiracy. They exist. Right? They control global events. Force global events. It says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly they did shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. Right? And like I said, this whole New World Order, Age of the Beast thing, right, is an evil endeavor, man. Okay? So they conjure themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. Like they're setting up all these traps and snares, but you don't really understand them. You don't really see them. So it looks like, oh, it was coincidence. It just happened that way. No, it was planned and plotted that way. Only because the Heavenly Father plotted it and planned it that way. To use you devils to do these things. All right? So they commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? These people are blind. They don't see it. Like I said, they just think it's some sort of natural occurrence. And being fed bullshit to accept it. Like this is normal. So they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Right? Like I said, they're sitting there plotting and scheming the whole damn time. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. So lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, we stay on Satan, man. Right? We see what he's doing. He don't beguile us, man. Like I said, this whole world is been turned into a zombie, essentially. Right? And they just accept what it is that they're told. But the men of the law, we've been given insight to Esau and his devices, his plans, his methods. Like we know what he wants to achieve. Right? And these are the tools or the things that he does in order to get what he wants. Okay? And what he wants is, like Nick Rockefeller told Aaron Russo, was to have everybody C-hipped. Right? So they can be controlled. Right? But he has, for him to be able to do that, he has to take away your quote unquote independency and make you dependent. Cause all kind of chaos in the world, man. To having you look at Esau the governments, you know, these elites as saviors of a destroyed system, you know. So he's bringing you there. He's bringing you down, right? And he's gonna cause more. He's gonna cause more problems, more wars, more insecurities. You know, more violence in the world. Because he's the red horse, man. He taketh peace from the earth, right? But he's doing that. And like I say, all these rich elites, you know, using all these corporations around the world to you know, guide, um, you know, the world to, you know, where it needs to be with, you know, all the technology and that. They're the ones calling the shots, man. You people out here, man, you're just consumers, man. That is all you are. Okay, you don't have no power, no sway, no. You're just sheep to them. You know, you're cattle to them, and you're just being led as they will. You know, they play the high Galilean dialect. You think you're going against them? No, you're playing into their hands. You all are. The only thing outside of that is them in the Lord. But even we have a use, you know, in this whole scheme, because we're here to you know, we bring certain confusion to the fray, even though you know, we're the ones with the truth. But it creates tension. It creates division still, and that's what, you know, the Lord did. You know, so everything has its place in the Most High's prophecy, because that's what it is. It's the Most High's prophecy. So we all have a place and part to play. You know, but the only thing He doesn't have control over is the men of the Lord. Okay, which means eventually he has to you know, find a way to put us to death, or try to. All right. Anyway, yeah. So we're not ignorant of his devices, man. Okay, Esau thinks he's slick. He ain't that slick. Daniel chapter 12 verse 1 said, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth before the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Right. So, you know, this recession that they're looking to create, you know, hey, we want that takes it over the edge that you don't come out of. You know, wherever it was going on, you know, pestilences and war, you know, all of that good stuff that's going on in the earth right now. Okay, means you're going to be in a time of trouble such as never was. You know, people are going to find it difficult, extremely, right? And they ain't going to know what to do. Right, but like I said, the reason for that is to take away your independency, man. To have you in a state of fear, right? Because things are going to get real bad. Like it's saying here, like a time of trouble like it never was, right? So things are going to get extremely bad, right? But the government are going to offer you a branch, right? And this is it. In Revelations 13 and 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? He's also going to come to you as a savior, offer you, you know, protection and food or whatever, you know, if you simply just take this this little device, you know, you just put in your hand, your forehead or whatever, and you know, it's gonna solve all your problems. Mostly because you ain't gonna be alive when the judgment of the Lord comes. You ain't gonna worry about shit no more. But yeah, you know, this is gonna be the answer that they're gonna bring you, man. When you can't fend for yourself anymore, right? When everything has been taken away from you, and all you got is you know, your lives, your bodies, right? And you fear to lose them. You're still gonna, like I said, offer that branch, and look, you can get this, you can get that. But before he can do that, he's got to take everything away from you, right? And this is why he's gonna collapse the shit out of this place. So yeah, you know, we're gonna create a recession, or we should create a recession. Yeah, okay. I wonder why you want to do that. You know, this is part of the plan. You know, part of the collapse. All right, so when you know the goals and the agendas of the elites, man, this is not like it's not crazy. It's not like unexpected, because we know where he wants to bring this to, you know. So when he says things like this, it's just like, well, he's being bold about it because he's just throwing it out there in the open, saying that he's gonna, he needs to do it, right? Not knowing that it was his plan all along. For these people, they don't know that. But to us, it's like, well, yeah, we know. You know, Esau, you know. So he calls it all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right, so yeah, without it, you ain't gonna be able to do no deals, ain't gonna be able to go into the store and buy nothing, or get access to anything. And this is why all these people are gonna be put on that universal basic income shit, okay? With your digital currency, your CBDCs attached to your CHIP, your programmable money, right? So this is the control that he's looking for. He's playing chess. He's playing chess. That's all he's playing chess, man. And you people are not even playing checkers. Man are playing tiddlywinks and shit. No, I'm saying, man, don't even know what's going on here. But Esau's playing chess around the people, man. Putting you into position. Ready to checkmate you. But even, is it? Trying to think. Trying to remember the rules of chess, man. I'm pretty sure if you get your pawn up to the opposition's top of the board, you can upgrade it into any piece or whatever. We're gonna get upgraded. That's why we're beyond the game. Because the most size beyond the game, man. Beyond the game of chess that you're playing, man. The most I'm playing 3D interdimensional chess. You know what I'm saying? Outside the game, and we're his pieces. So there's gonna come a time where we're gonna be upgrading, man, and all this checkmate shit you're trying to do to us ain't gonna mean shit. Anyway, man, I've had this video's gone on long enough anyway. It's only meant to be a quick one. But anyway, Lord willing, was edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video, man. So the next time I say, Shalom.